Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, one and all, to this afternoon's Markets Now live trading event. Hope you're doing well out there. Nice busy turnout this afternoon. Hey, Bacon Dude. Hey, good afternoon, Matthew. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Tony Tone. Hello there, Mr. Jack. Good to see all you guys. Having a good day today. We've certainly had a bit more market volatility in the system, which is great. Hey, good afternoon, Agency. So we've got a lot of things up in the air at the moment. Potential for a smoothing over of the Middle Eastern conflict with the US. It's kind of all over the place at this present moment in time. There have been certain things said that were positive. There were certain things that were heard that were not so positive, and it's kind of going backwards and forwards at the moment. But the point is, the fact still remains that there is movement. There are things actually happening, and we're not, continuing the standoff, which is caused, obviously Brent prices to fire up through the roof, smashed the most recent high, and we've actually come down quite significantly. We're currently trading down at minus 7.15% today. That's at a 50% pullback. So just from the high to the low here, we actually have had a full down day today of 10.8%. So it's a pretty big shave off the top there. Looking at the 50-minute time frame, we can see we've had quite the spike back up again. We've come into an area of money here. So this is the cash. And now we've got to kind of see what price action does from this point on. I mean, you ask a lot of people around the world, this would be a pretty decent area to consider selling into it. And I wouldn't disagree. I think this is quite a decent area to consider selling into UK Brent. But it has to be taken very carefully. You have to remember the kind of situation we are playing with here. I mean, this is a relatively high risk, high volatility scenario that we're trading. And the market really could jump at any point in time. It really does all hinge on the words that are spoken by the world leaders at the moment, and the White House administration, and then between the Middle East as well. So there's quite a lot of things riding on this. But if we just base this purely on the technicals and what we're looking at the moment, with a light frosting of geopolitical analysis, I think a short in Brent from this point in time down to, back down to the previous lows at around 102, it does make sense. It does seem like a good play, and it's something that I personally do want to have a stab at. So I think we're gonna go for that. Hey, good afternoon, Core Tim. Good to see you, buddy. So yeah, it's definitely something that I want to have a stab at this afternoon, team. So first and foremost, the break of structure point that we're going to be looking at for this UK Brent short is going to be approximately here, just below where the price line is at the moment. We're not going to be able to shave all of the lows that we've had through this area, but it is the best that we've got to work with if we are looking for that decent margin, that decent return. So the short will be listed as an entry at 106.008, targeting 102.40-ish. And the stop loss for this trade will be at the 50% point between the breaker structure and the cash at the top at around a 1 to 2.6 if we get a decent fill. And this, of course, is on the proviso that the market has, in which this has already, but it's already broken into liquidity. And then we're ultimately looking for the continuation of this slice of trend. It's not a trend at all, but this slice of movement, this slice of the pie. So that's going to be the UK Brent short trade download. In terms of natural gas at the moment, we don't have too much more to report on. It has come up to liquidity. It did fail to make any higher highs. It's failed to break above that sort of 2.8, 2.85 area. Slowly coming back down now. We did get a break of structure down at around 259. But it's been short-lived. We're actually trading back above liquidity at the moment. I would like to say a short in NG makes perfect sense as well. But I think it carries a lot of inherent risk from where we're currently positioned. And I'm not entirely sure I like the idea of going short NG and UK Brent at the same time. So possibly looking to avoid NG at this moment in time in favor of trading the Brent market. Just for clarity, I don't like the longs, which is why I haven't suggested anything in here as well. We've got structural point at 111.55. We've got a gap that hasn't yet been filled between 113.40 and 114.50, which is a tiny little margin. And anywhere in there is high risk of reversal. So it doesn't really make too much sense at the long side of things at this present moment in time. Once we get the breaker structure above 115.47, there's a really nice long availability to previous highs at 120.30, which is a great long. But until that point, we don't really have too much in the basket, and I don't want to be fooling around with anything down below because I think that's just going to be too high risk. In other news, gold longs went very nicely. We got the breaker structure for this one. Did have to take the conservative one at the end of the day because we failed to get the breakdown into structure down below at 45.40. That was a good one. We actually do have a stunning break close and retest above big liquidity here as well, which means that we now do have trade idea number 1 and trade idea number 2 available. We, on the unfortunate side of things, well, I guess it's not too unfortunate, I suppose. The breaker structure for this one's a little bit skewed. So that's about where it is. And because of the market's candlestick that we've currently got at the moment, we would need to wait for a secondary push back into money at 46.60 and then to see the continuation back to 47.40, of which I am happy to go for. I'm happy to jump in for another, for a round 2 on this one. So stop losses probably at around 46.81-ish for bang on a 1 to 2. After you get your fill, you're probably looking at a 1 to 1.85, 1 to 1.9. That's what your net return would be about. But not a bad little intraday trade there at all for the gold markets. And then we can look to double up on that one as well once we breach 47.60. But I don't think that's going to be today. That'll probably fall into tomorrow's trading opportunities. So we're going to list that as a green. There we go. So that's UK Brent shorts. That's gold long. Let's have a quick flash up to the European indices. We had a pretty big day, obviously, as a result of the geopolitics. Markets really did have a decent rally as a result of what's going on around there at the moment, which is why we can see these big extended moves. We did see them across the board here. Looking at where they're positioned at the moment, because we've had such big days today, I would be more on the side of contractionary process taking place this afternoon. And this actually, I can actually now, as a decent segue, I know a lot of you guys didn't join me for this morning's Investment Hub session. I know some of you will be getting it on catch up this afternoon. But we were talking about accumulation and distribution. There'll be some good distribution going on up here after the amount of profit that's probably been taken up at these highs. So I would not be surprised at all if the European indices and the US indices now would start coming back down this afternoon, maybe back down to their means, of which, like the US 30, for example, would be trading back down to around 49.50. Which would be great. Now, if we look at this Dow Jones, we've hit it once, twice, and thrice. We've not been successful in getting breaker structure above the big pusher to 51, maybe 50.050, 50.05, maybe somewhere around there would be the sort of convincing area for a continuation. We've actually failed multiple times over, which says to me that the market still is skeptical about continuing its push, and probably profit taking is going to win the race today. So then I'd be looking for the breaker structure between maybe 49.70, taking the trade back down to 49.46 for the afternoon's profits. So short, breaker structure entry, target profit at the median, stop loss possibly a 50% point where the price line's currently trading, yielding around about a 1 to 2.4. Nice and in and out trade. We've got the NAS 100 up here. Actually, let me just take a picture of that Dow Jones. So NAS 100, all-time high trading. We did a nice 1 to 2.4 something yesterday, 1 to 2.48. I think I got on this one yesterday. Everyone should have made a profit on that one yesterday. It was impossible not to, by the way, if you followed the UTC trading plan from yesterday afternoon, so that was really good. The breaker structure for this one, super simple, super clear. Anchor point, secondary, and multiple retests on the low. This would be a really nice counter trend trading opportunity based on profit taking this afternoon from our institutional friends. Looking at a target profit of around 28,109. So shorting below here, targeting down there, and a target profit again maybe just above where the price line is for a 1 to 2.5, 1 to 2.6, something like that. That would be the trade idea for the NAS 100. If it's a long, I would say very dependent, of course, on where the market's trading at the point in which it decides to go at 2:30. I would say something like this would be acceptable. So a breaker structure above there, so long as the market's trading between 28,404 and 28,326, you could take an aggressive entry here with a target profit higher than the previous high because we're trading at all-time highs. So what I mean by that is you could take a long in there, have your stop loss at the 50% point between those two margins. That's going to yield, even to there is an acceptable trade. So you could just do that, to be honest with you. And that would be very, very safe. Very conservative trade. Very safe trade with regards to the structure. 1 to 1.8? Well, 1 to 2, actually. So that's not a bad trade right there that you can all consider. For me, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be afraid taking it higher. I really wouldn't. If we're trading down now, we've had a nice price action pullback. If the market wants to go long this afternoon, we'll be smashing that and forming a new all-time high, because that's what the markets will do. They will want to take out the previous high. So then you could look at a potential TP at the next major number, maybe 2860, or 2880 is going to be a push for me, so I wouldn't do that. Maybe 2870. 2870 is about there. I think that's probably quite realistic, but you wouldn't want to take a static trade at a 1 to 5.16. So what you would end up doing is probably having one trade like this for a 1 to 2, and then just simply waiting for the breaker structure for the next trade for a 1 to 2. And what this will do is split the trades down the middle. You're going to be getting 2 net return trades at 0.5% each. That's going to be a 1% return via those 2 trades in the afternoon in the space of a couple of hours. That would be a really nice way to kick off the day, wouldn't it? Definitely. So I will leave that plan with you guys. That's the one that I would probably decide to take. It's the safest option, has the maximum amount of risk mitigation, keeping you guys out of the markets when you don't absolutely have to be in there. And you're going to bank some profit, right? You're definitely going to bank some profit, because even if the market comes up to the previous highs, triggers this one, and then comes back down for a stop, you've still got the banked profit from the first trade, which means then you're down at 0.3% of a profit on that first trade, rather than taking a loss at 0.25%. So it's all a bit of a numbers game, but it definitely works. The numbers are there, and if the market wants to go short straight away, then you guys have got a really nice 1 to 2.55 down to the lows anyway. So all looking really, really nice. In terms of the S&P 500, it's a carbon copy printout of the NAS 100, and so therefore I wouldn't really suggest trading it today. I have been including the Standard & Poor's on top of the other two recently, but today in particular it just doesn't make sense. It's unnecessary. So keep your focus on the Dow Jones and the NAS 100 and be happy with the trading opportunities that are available on both of those. So yeah, that's a job well done. That is a job well done. It's nice. It's nice coming on and having things to instantly look at and prepare for. So the Dow Jones short, really nice. NAS 100 longs and shorts, really nice. UK Brent short is certainly looking pretty nice. I think that one's definitely got legs. And then we've got the gold long, which equally just has decent legs, decent move. I think we could probably tighten up that stop loss a bit as well. Yeah, I think we could. After we've been in liquidity, there's no reason to come back down there again after the retest. So we could even make that 1 to 2.5 and still be relatively safe, I think, for that gold. So yeah, I'll take another one of that one. Right. Now we've got the highly important stuff out of the way. We all know how we're going to make some money this afternoon. Let's have a look at some of the requests here. We've got Jack. Anybody else, if you've got any requests, you want me to check some assets out, or anything that you're looking at chart-wise, please let me know, and I'll be happy to take a look at that. And in the interim, let's have a look at what Jack sent. It would be decent if we could... I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get creative here. I'm going to copy and paste that. Copy. And then I'm going to bring that over. So this is the US tech cash market. So let's go up to the NAS 100 cash. We're going to post up the chart. This is Jack's chart here, ladies and gents. All right, so Jack wanted to compare the charts that we've got. So as we can all see here, the long that Jack is looking at today is absolutely identical to the long that I have provided. So I think that deserves a little bit of a round of applause, doesn't it? That's a bloody good job. So well done, Jack. Well done on the long. Absolutely spot on, mate. In terms of the short, that's that area there. So Jack is looking to take the short between this area, which if you already look, let me just bring this in, okay? If we already look at this, I've already got the liquidity and everything in place from yesterday's trading analysis for the US pre-market, which indicates without a shadow of a doubt that there would be short margin between 2806 down to that level there at 2788, which it should do, right? That is absolutely the trading opportunity there as well. So that's on the proviso that the market breaks down, comes all the way down here, and then we look at the short. This is like the secondary short, isn't it? So we're breaking two trade ideas down in half, just the same way we did on the long for the NAS 100. In fact, we've got two on the short, two on the long. So even though, and I am going to offer some additional criticism in a moment, but based purely off of the technicals, that is absolutely spot on as well. No doubt about it. Absolutely spot on trade, following the exact parameters that we should be laying out as IO traders. Following the smart money, following the commercial methods, that's exactly what you should be doing. Flawless is the word I would use on that one. Entry, target, stop loss, margin away from the breaker structure point. The target profit slightly above this area, which I am definitely not going to penalize you for, because that's just being pessimistic, and there's no problem with that in this market environment. Don't make a habit out of it, but right now, definitely the right call to make. The critique here is where the trade is. Now you've got a zone in the middle of here in amongst this bit of mess. Now I see trading opportunity in here because of where the market is now in comparison to where it's going to be in a half an hour's time when the bell rings. You have to take that into consideration. Is the market realistically in a single trading session going to jump from this area here down a further 1.7% on top of already having a 1% update? It seems a little bit of a distance if there's not the geopolitical backdrop to support that kind of volatile move. Now, it definitely could. We could have the White House administration order a full retreat from the Middle East, or anything, whatever it might be to cause that level of volatility. It's definitely out there. I just don't think today is going to be the day for it. If anything, at the moment, we're looking at a more positive limelight with the Middle East conflict, which would support probably longs over shorts. That's if any further news comes out. If no further news comes out and it all dies down a little bit now, then we're just going to see some natural profit taking. When the profit taking takes place and we reach the distribution phase, that's going to be an organic price action pullback, which would probably be in the remit of around 1%, maybe 0.8%, 0.8 to 1%, which is going to be NAS 100 finishing the day at around a break-even day, maybe a 0.1 to 0.2% move. So I personally do not think that the NAS 100 in our trading session here in Old Blighty is going to finish off at around this level down here. Maybe by 12 o'clock tonight, maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning. But within the next few hours, when we are going to be actively trading these US instruments, I just don't see it coming back down to that level just yet. So for me, the highest probability outcome is to get in and out of this first trade as quickly as possible. If the market makes it down to this area in the next hour and a half, then I am going to be absolutely taking that short trade. And I'm going to be doubling up my money on the shorts, definitely. But right now, it's about just getting the first one out first. And I don't see any reason in here to dissuade me from being in that first trade. We've got anchor point number 1, okay, which is the inflection point, biggest price action pullback in the move since back here. We have this first retest, which is the really nice break close retest continuation, and then this is the 1 hour, 4 hour retest where the market takes a while, comes up, extends, comes back down, and retests this point of liquidity. So if we then get the breaker structure below this one, the next major point of liquidity, and I say major, please take that with a pinch of salt because we're discussing things on a 15-minute time frame, but that is going to be at this area in here where we have the price action pullback, the break close retest, and then the continuation. We do have a retest, this tiny little one here as well. That is absolutely fine for me. I don't mind about that. Okay, so nice trading margin number 1, nice trading margin number 2. Does that all make sense? And also for everybody else, I mean, we've got a really good turnout today. We've got loads of people in here. Does that make sense to everybody about why I'm thinking about it that way and why the structure is where it is there? Does anybody have a differing opinion? Which is absolutely fine as well. It'd be good to hear if anyone's on the other side of this. Excuse me. I've got dry as hell throat now. If it's anything to do with investing, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's the wrong stream for it. Generally, I like to keep the investment things to the investment hub sessions, or at least the UTC trader ones, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. The only reason I say that, Tony Tone, is that if people can't spend every day with me in some format here, I don't want anyone taking information from a single session in a week and then blindly following anything and then having problems down the line because I'm not there to guide them through it. That's the only issue. It's not good practice, mate. Yeah, that's the only reason. So no worries. You can throw questions about that into the investment hub, though. If you throw questions out like that into the investment hub, then I'll be more than happy to chew the fat with you on it. That's fine. So does everyone else make sense of that? Or is everyone completely stumped and lost for words? Or is everyone completely blown away by how amazing that explanation was? Which one is it? All clear, Tony Tone. Very clear, Matthew. All clear for H&C. See better with the chart. Yep. Great. All right, guys. Well, I suppose on that note then, we are currently at the top of the hour. You guys have got about 30 minutes to go before the bell rings. And yeah, I think that's a wrap. We've got some decent trading opportunities this afternoon. I actually feel like I'm looking forward to the US Open this afternoon rather than the previous sessions where I've been kind of scratching my head wondering, what the hell we're going to do. But yeah, we've got some decent trading opportunities. So let's try and make the most of it. Hopefully the markets will move for us, and we'll be able to see a couple of decent things happen. So it's been a pleasure as always, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. Lovely turnout as well, by the way. I like the engagement and everything. It's good fun. So take care of yourselves. Good luck out there in the US Open, and I look forward to catching up with you this afternoon to see how it all went. So I'll see you then. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.